Ms. Moore, you were suing the defendant, Ms. Garza Cisneros, for $5,000 for property damage. You rented a home from the defendant, and you claimed that your belongings were damaged after the basement flooded due to a faulty system. You believe that the defendant was responsible, but she refused to pay you for the damage, so you withheld rent. Now you're suing to recover those losses. Ms. Garza Cisneros.
Yes.
You say that Ms. Moore was warned about prior flooding and was encouraged to get insurance. You claim that the flooding wasn't your fault. The basement was primarily dry and that the equipment that you had installed were working properly.
Yes.
You believe that the plaintiff didn't follow the lease requirements, that she stopped paying rent and is now unfairly blaming you for her losses.
Exactly.
Ms. Moore, how did you come to end up renting a home from the defendant?
I had to move because the house I was staying in, they sold it. So my realtor found me this house. And I had told the realtor, I need some place with a basement because I sell a lot of stuff online and I sell a lot of stuff through Rubber Sale, and I need some place to take my stuff out of storage and I could place it into a basement.
And he found you this home, this single-family home with 4 bedrooms and 2 baths?
Yes.
Okay, and this was owned by the defendant. How long have you been a landlord?
Around 5 years.
And you had a basement.
Yes.
Were you aware that she was going to store her things?
No, I was not even aware of that. In fact, she was working. I never knew that she has a business or storage. It was never disclosed to me, and it was not disclosed even in the lease contract. And
Okay.
it's a semi-finished basement, so you cannot use as a storage. You know,
You cannot use as a storage. Was she aware of that?
it's a semi-finish. It's only for water, like how do you say, laundry?
But it wasn't closed off. She was able to go down there.
Yeah, she was able to go.
Okay, and Ms. Moore, you were paying how much in rent a month?
$3,200.
And this was a 1-year lease?
Yes.
All right, and so what kind of business did you say you were involved?
It's a business where we go to Rumpus Sales and we get stuff and we put it up for sale at Rumpus Sales, or we do it on eBay, different organizations they have online.
Okay, and this was supposed to help pay rent?
Yes.
Now, if this place didn't have storage space for your side business, would you have been able to afford rent?
If it didn't have that basement for me to store my stuff and take it out of storage, not only wouldn't I have took it, I wouldn't have been able to afford it because the storage alone costed me over $100 and something a month.
Did you have a conversation, Mrs. Cisneros, with the plaintiff about prior flooding in the basement?
Yes.
Okay, so you had this conversation with her. Why?
Not through her. It was, I imagine, through the real estate agent, and it was in the. If you see in the lease agreement, it's a disclosure that the basement has been flooded, has been fixed, and is prevented with French drains and swim pump. But please consider that and put flood insurance.
So this was disclosed in the lease, and you also had a conversation with the real estate agent?
Yes.
And you had a conversation with the real estate agent? Because in your complaint, you made it seem as though you had a direct conversation with the defendant.
No, I had a conversation with the realtor, and I told the realtor about why I need the basement. And the realtor said on the contract that they did have a flood during hurricane season, but there is no more flooding. She said they got everything fixed. On the contract, it says there is no flooding.
You claim that there was, in fact, a flooding after a severe rainstorm. Tell me about that. In February of 2025?
Yes, I was not home at the time. My son was there. When I got home, a lot of the water started to go down, but we did take some pictures. The water came up to the first steps. That's how much.
Is this your Exhibit A?
Yes.
Okay, let's watch the video. And I'm assuming this is during the flood?
Yes. That was after a lot of the water went down. It was way more water than that. We couldn't even go down in there. That's how much water. Now it started to go down. All of that is bedding, frame, and it's all rusted. A lot of clothes, but I washed those, so it was okay. Those are shoes in the bag. They got messed up. Exercise equipment over there. I had to throw that little sofa chair out because it was soft and it sucked in a lot of water. So I threw that out.
All right, Judge Juarez.
Ms. Cisneros, what is your defense here?
Sure. First of all, in the lease it says that it's been flooded and it needs to be rental insurance with flood insurance too.
So what?